My name is Andy Mayer, and I'm a creative professional living in the Seattle area. As you can see, my schedule is completely full with projects, and I just wanted to start making content, putting it out there. I originally thought I was going to start making content for fellow content creators, but I think I have just as much to say to the receiving end of that, to business leadership. Been working in the industry since I was 15. I'm 36, about to turn 37. So over 21 years here of experience making things for people. And so many of my conversations these days are revolving around how AI is going to completely displace slash eradicate slash annihilate the quote unquote blue collar creative worker. I just want to share my experience this year, having done a Super Bowl commercial, countless web ads, tons of animation work, clearly staying very busy right now with photography, videography in this age where things are supposedly crashing and burning, which for a lot of people it is. For some people like me, it's only gotten busier. So I just want to kind of respond to the general sentiment and in the content creation space to this idea that AI and artificially generated or generative AI stuff is going to quote unquote take over. And I'm going to explain what that means in its own terms. A lot of people are saying that. There's two kind of extremes of that argument. One is it's going to take over completely. There's no point in doing, any creative endeavor anymore. So if you're a content creator, you've heard this thing that's basically, there's no point in you getting better at what you do. You are going to be replaced slowly. You need to accept your fate and die pretty much. The other extreme of that argument is I'm not going to touch anything having to do with AI. It's not gonna get me, and there's a sort of close your eyes and shut your ears and hope it goes away mentality as well. On both sides, whether it's a business leader or creative person, or a team in general. So what's going on is really a theory. That there's a theory that says, because LLMs and models exist, in theory, there can be a model of me, and something can predict my actions eventually, and eventually, I will be completely replaced by a predictive model of everything that I can say and do and touch and smell and et cetera, et cetera. And if you believe that, then it's a free country. You can believe that. If you plot kind of the life course of a truly creative individual, you're going to see a lot of seemingly random to you twists and turns, but to them, logical next steps in their progression. Myself, I started learning how to oil paint and have been pouring my sleepless night hours enjoying learning how to paint from all different kinds of classes and online teachers and, in-person stuff. I'm just obsessed with learning a new skill. Had you told me 21 years old, hey, you're going to get into oil painting, I'd be like, really? I don't know. I didn't know that. As I was learning how to paint, I got totally bitten by the 35 millimeter film bug. And now I have a Leica and some sought after lenses, and I enjoy, capturing my family with that. I've been in a band. I've learned how to do animation, 3D, filmmaking. This year, again, the Super Bowl commercial, I was the lead editor on that for a brand that I work with. All that to say, all of these twists and turns, I guess you could say that you could theoretically predict every step of my life journey, but the idea that you're going to predict the very next thing that I'll get into is very low. I'll just tell you that. I don't even know what that is going to be. I'm excited for that, but it is completely unbeknownst to me what my next creative endeavor is going to be and how much it's going to add to my life and change me. And at the end of the day, as creative people, like that's who we are. We are curious people. There's nothing that you can do to predict the outcome of our life paths. And it's just that I don't believe in predictive, in that theory, that you can predict where people are going to go next. It's not, if you believe that people are an algorithm and they're a machine and they produce machine-like results, probably says more about how you live your life in a very predictable way that you can understand. And you probably don't take as much risks as you should. And you probably deep down know in your heart of hearts that you should take some risks and do some unpredictable things to yourself and to your loved ones. And maybe ask your wife or your kids, hey, do you think I should take more risks? What does that look like? And maybe that would be too risky of a question to ask them. Maybe you wouldn't like what you would hear, so you don't ask that question. Proving my point, you might not be much of a risk taker if that's how you live your life. So anyways, this sort of theory has been permeating a lot of conversations that I've been having in the creative space. And I'm here to say I don't believe in it. I don't believe that true creativity is something that you can predict. I think that there's unique situations that you're going to find yourself in. And as a creative person, you apply all of your past knowledge from your past projects into the present project and into the future. So if you work with a contractor who's working on your house, he can't predict that you're about to say, no, I wanted orange countertops, but if you said that to him, he would know how to react to that if he's a professional, and he would guide that process along and get you your fancy orange countertops if that's what you really wanted. And then if you said halfway through, I actually, now that I'm seeing it, I actually wanted blue countertops. You didn't predict that in your heart, but now you're seeing it and you want it changed. And now he can't predict that, but he's going to react and change it accordingly. This is how creative people operate. We work in unpredictable situations as unpredictable people. And true creativity is where you start solving problems with your experience, and you take some risks and do some things that no one's asking of you, and try to not just raise the bar of quality, but like improve who you are along the way. So this whole idea that artificial intelligence is going to like come along and replace that relationship, that person. The only people that are saying that are people that I don't need that person's advice in my life. And quite frankly, I'd be fine replacing them with ChatGPT, because if they're just telling me that doom and gloom, like I don't need that in my life. So yeah, it makes sense why those types of people are saying the end is near and the apocalypse is coming. It kind of reminds me a lot of like people who will say things like, the end is near, and the apocalypse is coming and the sky is falling. These are the types of people that, well, two types of people are saying this. One type of person has not applied themselves in any creative way, or taken a finger painting class, or like just genuinely gets very, very uncomfortable at the idea of doing anything artistic, which I will tell you, and other artists will tell you, if you don't feel uncomfortable, you're not really doing it. So being uncomfortable is part of the process. The other type of person that says this are the people who are just tired, and they're just out of ideas and out of gas, and they're not really sure what to do about this time and this age of generative AI. So they jump to the conclusion of, well, you better do something else because you're going to be replaced, and that's that type of person doesn't understand like what a true creative person is like, okay, well, I'm going to take this new situation and apply my past knowledge to it. And I'm down with learning new tools and new things like that, but I'll test them out. If this doesn't work for me, I'm not going to use this thing, So cautiously, I'm trying different things and curious to see where these things go. But this whole idea that you are going to be replaced, and that this entire creative class of individual is going to be replaced. If you ask yourself, like, what type of person is saying that? Is this the type of person that I want to emulate? What other types of conclusions has this person made about other things, and how did those things turn out? Did they have a long history of predicting outcomes, and now you can trust this one because you could trust the other ones? Or do these type of people kind of reach for the ultimate told you so moments? My observation is that this type of replacement terminology is coming from people who just can't, I'll just say very, very bluntly, they can't compete with people like me or people like my peers that I respect really greatly in the creative space. They just can't, these types of people cannot compete with creative craftspeople. So because they can't compete, because they don't know Photoshop, because they don't know Premiere, because they don't know DaVinci, because they don't know Blender, because they don't know Pro Tools, Logic, Cubase, like all this stuff goes on and on, or because they can't code, because they can't compete with true creative people who are willing to like go into this chaos and make something out of it. They reach for the, well, you're gonna die. And I'm at any point in this journey, you could have said that. And I'm not worried. So if you're a business leader and you're reaching for AI tools and you're getting frustrated with like, man, this logo that I'm generating doesn't feel right, or this graphic I'm generating doesn't feel right, or this video I'm generating doesn't feel right, none of this feels right, reach out to either myself or other people that you know that do this stuff. Because it's just like a contractor who works on houses, If you see your neighbor trying to re-roof his house and you're like, dude, just stop. Like, call somebody who, do you know, like, that I roof houses, So if you're getting stuck, just stop. Just reach out to people that know what they're doing. And yeah, it'll cost you money. But not doing this is going to cost you your sanity, and then you're going to have to jump to some conclusions like, well, all creative people are just going to go. It's like, sure, in your world, I guess, but it's not a world that I want to live in. I don't think anyone else is really interested in that world. So that's my 2 cents. Goodbye.